Imagine gliding from Tokyo to Nagoya in just 40 minutes, a journey that currently takes nearly twice as long on the world's most famous bullet train. This isn't science fiction. It's the promise of Japan's Chuo Shinkansen, a train that floats on a magnetic cushion at an incredible 500 kilometers per hour. But if this technology has been around for decades, why aren't we all zipping around in magnetic levitation trains? Why isn't Maglev everywhere? The answer is a fascinating story of ambition, mind-boggling engineering, and cold, hard economics. We've explored megastructures and marvels of transportation on this channel, but the story of Maglev is special. It represents a genuine leap into the future, but it also forces us to ask a critical question. How much are we willing to pay for speed? Japan is betting hundreds of billions of dollars on its answer, a gamble that could redefine high-speed travel or become one of the most expensive engineering lessons in history. So, how does a train fly? It all comes down to magnets. You remember playing with them as a kid, right? The way they push each other apart? That's the basic principle. Most maglev systems you might have heard of, like the one in Shanghai, use something called electromagnetism suspension, or EMS. Powerful electromagnets on the train are attracted upwards to a steel rail. Computers constantly adjust the magnetic force to maintain a tiny gap, about 8 to 12 millimeters, between the train and the track. It's like the train is constantly being pulled up, but never quite touching. It's efficient, but it requires extremely precise control. One little hiccup, and the train could make contact. But Japan's SCMaglev, which stands for superconducting maglev, is a completely different beast. It uses a system called electrodynamic suspension, or EDS. Instead of being attracted upwards, the train is pushed upwards. Here's how it works. On board the train are incredibly powerful superconducting magnets. As the train starts moving on wheels, these magnets induce a current in coils embedded in the guideway walls. This induced current creates its own magnetic field, and thanks to a clever principle of physics, these two fields, the one from the train and the one from the track, repel each other. The faster the train goes, the stronger the repulsion. Around 150 kilometers per hour, the magnetic lift is strong enough to overcome gravity, and the train lifts off the ground, floating a generous 10 centimeters above the track. This large gap makes the system incredibly stable and resilient to things like earthquakes, a major concern in Japan. Creating a magnetic field strong enough to lift a multi-ton train is one thing, taming it is another. The superconducting magnets on the SCMaglev need to be cooled to a mind-numbing minus 269 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, they can conduct electricity with zero resistance, creating a magnetic field so powerful it could wreak havoc on anything nearby. So, a huge part of the engineering challenge is shielding. The passenger cabin has to be a sanctuary, protected from these immense forces. The goal is to keep the magnetic field inside the cabin to about 0.5 milliteslas, which is similar to the natural magnetic field of the Earth. This is achieved through layers of inductive shielding materials built into the body of the train car, effectively creating a magnetic cage that keeps the powerful fields outside and the passengers safe inside. Now, if there are no wheels touching a track, how do you push the train forward, and just as importantly, how do you stop it? This is where the genius of the EDS system really shines. The guideway itself becomes the engine. Those coils in the walls that create the lift also serve to propel the train. By precisely controlling the alternating current flowing through these coils, engineers create a magnetic wave that the train's magnets can surf on. To go faster, you increase the frequency of this wave, essentially pushing the train along. To slow down, you reverse the process. The magnetic wave now works against the train's motion, creating a highly efficient braking system called regenerative braking. This process actually generates electricity that can be fed back into the power grid. Of course, for low speeds and emergency stops, there are also retractable wheels and aerodynamic brakes just in case. So, we have the technology. It's safe, it's incredibly fast, and it works. Why isn't it everywhere? The answer, in a word, is cost. This is the engineering versus economics curve. Building a conventional high-speed rail line, like France's TGV, cost around $2 million per kilometer in its early days. The first phase of Japan's Chuo Shinkansen? The estimated cost is a staggering $77 million per kilometer. Let that sink in. Where is all that money going? A huge chunk of it is tunneling. To maintain its incredible speed, the SCMaglev needs a track that is almost perfectly straight and level. In a mountainous country like Japan, that means going through the mountains, not around them. An unbelievable 86% of the route from Tokyo to Nagoya will be underground in tunnels or deep trenches. The energy consumption is also a factor. At 500 kilometers per hour, it's projected to use about 30% more energy than the existing Shinkansen on that same route. Speed isn't free. Let's look at the only commercial maglev in the world, the Shanghai Trans Rapid. It hits a top speed of 431 kilometers per hour, which is amazing. But the journey is only 30 kilometers long and takes just 8 minutes. When you factor in the time getting to and from the airport station, the average speed over the entire trip is closer to 225 kilometers per hour. It's more of a technology demonstrator than a revolutionary transport link. Japan's project is on a completely different scale. The first phase to Nagoya is planned for 2027, though delays are likely, with a future extension to Osaka slated for 2037 or later. It's a multi-generational project, a national-level commitment that few other countries could even contemplate. So, could this ever happen in the United States? The idea has been floated for decades, most notably for a line between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, and eventually up to New York. The Japanese government has even offered to finance a significant portion of the initial D.C. to Baltimore leg. But the challenges are immense. The cost, the land acquisition in a densely populated corridor, the political will required to coordinate between multiple states and jurisdictions. It's a logistical nightmare. While a private company, the Northeast Maglev, is still pushing the project forward, it faces a long, uphill battle against both economic reality and political inertia. The U.S. has struggled to even build conventional high-speed rail, so leaping straight to the most expensive and complex system in the world seems like a very long shot. So what could change the game? Two things mainly: cost reduction and energy innovation. If manufacturing techniques for the superconducting magnets and guideway components become cheaper through automation and economies of scale, the price tag could come down. More importantly, if we see a massive shift to cheaper, abundant renewable energy, the higher energy consumption of Maglev becomes less of a financial burden and more of an acceptable trade-off for the time saved. If a 500-kilometer-h train can be powered entirely by solar or fusion in the future, the economic equation starts to look very different. Until then, Maglev will likely remain a niche technology, reserved for specific high-density routes where the economic and political will align perfectly. Ultimately, Japan's Chuo Shinkansen is more than just a train. It's a statement. It's a testament to a nation's belief in engineering, progress, and long-term vision. It's a gamble that the future of travel lies not in the air, but underground, in a magnetically levitated tube. While the cost is astronomical, the payoff could be a transport system that is faster, safer, and more reliable than anything we have today, reshaping the economy and social fabric of the entire nation. It proves that the future doesn't just arrive, it has to be built, tunneled, and propelled by immense ambition and magnetic force. Thanks for exploring this incredible project with us today. If you're fascinated by the engineering that will shape our future, make sure to subscribe to Explore with Us MN and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We'll see you in the next one.